Fake it till you make it. But until when? Let's get real.
Hi, Devi. People know you as Dharamveer, and you are also, of course, very famously known as the founder of Zostel, a very, very loved brand, not just in India but globally. I personally love Zostel. The fact that certain rooms have that luxury to it as well. Rishikesh and all, I've always stayed over there. So, really amazing what you've done with the brand and with the business. And
Thanks.
I think we're very fortunate to have you here, Devi. Uh, you know what this is about. It's throwing the light on your life. So
Super
we'll
excited.
get started. Yeah, thanks so much for making time. Yeah, so we'll get started, Devi.
Hmm.
My first question, of course, is that describe yourself in one line, except the fact that you are the founder of Tostel, but we want to know you in one line.
Okay, I'm a very curious nerd who has learned that you can basically learn and do anything.
Nice. Curious nerd who basically, yeah, if you're ready to learn, you can do anything. Amazing. Thanks, Devi, for sharing that. If I ask you that, after all these years where Zostel has reached, where you have, bought it, uh, would you say that you're successful?
I wouldn't say that. I think we have done fairly good,
Hmm.
but we could have done more, I would say.
Yeah.
And I think from purely, if you'll dive deeper into our journey, you'll realize that there have been various moments of failure.
Yeah.
There have been moments when we had to let go of around 90% of our team. And
Wow.
yeah. So we had another business unit called as Zorooms.
Hmm.
So we sold the business, we exited it, we never got paid for it. So there have been, I think, innumerous failures, throughout the journey. And even till today, I would like we are in 100 cities, we are giving, let's say, 2,000 people, but I think, it's not really the grandest or suspect that even I imagine. I was very ambitious, even
Hmm.
from we started off.
Hmm.
So, you said you were warm, with your words and kind that it's a global brand, but we would really like, this decade to have Zostels, across the world. So,
Absolutely. And you will add 100 cities where you guys are already there. It's a very tremendous thing. And so nicely you talked about that, it's such a humble gesture from you, Dharmi, that you talked about kitne failures hue hain, like so many failures have happened. And I was actually going to come to that. I wanted to ask you, do you fear failing? Or tell us, like, what are your fears that you have as a founder? Some of the very deep rooted fears that you think you have as a founder?
right. So obviously there is, when you dream something boldly, I usually shoot for goals, Kanika, that I know are probably 1% probable. And I really enjoy the whole process that you're putting into energies into it so that you're increasing that whole probability. It's a long-term effort that giving in everyday energy, so maybe your probability of success keeps on increasing. And like that, I think, so I do realize that most probably will fail. So most probably, whatever you're trying to do, right now we are trying to build a global travel ecosystem around local communities, that's called as Zo World. It's
Yeah,
in Web3, it's in
yeah,
crypto, it's NFTs. Nobody else, probably doing such a thing in India. And so we realized that it's very difficult. What has really been advantageous, for me personally, and I think for any founder, is that I started off pretty early. I tried
hmm,
to do my first startup when I was 19. Then I failed. So I think what I've really realized is, and I've done several projects that you guys wouldn't have heard about.
yeah,
I think that sooner or later you realize that the only way to, you have nothing to lose actually,
hmm,
because
hmm,
if you're really smart about it and you're doing it, you'll learn great things. Or even in success, you'll probably push out to a different challenge, and when you will fail over there, you'll learn something else about how the universe works. So
hmm,
we keep learning and tweaking around in our
hmm,
life. So
hmm.
so just like you said, so I just been very comfortable in terms of embracing failure, and
Right.
to that I've just failed so much that it's become a normal routine that, yeah, okay, that's fine, let's just no time for the
Right.
grief. let's just, optimize.
Dee, I think when you share this now, what the feeling that I get is that, like you said, you've become comfortable with failure, which means that you're embracing failure without any fear, which is a very fantastic thing. Because if I personally tell you right now, my biggest fear is still failing. Like if tomorrow, let's say MindPeers fails, I do have that feeling, like it's just a very weird feeling to have. What I want to ask you is that, let's say, when your first few failures happened, I'm sure there would have been certain kind of feelings, like did you, I'm going to use this word judge. Did you judge yourself? Did you feel that what would the society, what would maybe investors, what would the ecosystem think of you? Were there any thoughts like these that came into your head?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been from the direction that I rarely, I don't let myself be impacted by others' opinion. I keep myself in very high regards. So I think, whenever I have failed, I've been disappointed with myself, more than what others might think about it. And, serious doubts about, how can we be so foolish, or, where have we really been wrong? Where is my own bias? So it's very difficult to introspect as well, right? So, but you have to go through those journeys, and I think traveling really helped me. So I shut down my first startup in around 2011.
Okay.
So I kept running it for 3 years. I did not do anything that anybody standard does at IIT. I wanted to create my own job. So startup wasn't that cool back then. And I wanted to make at least, $500 a month from my startup. And I could make $100, but it was total failure. And I got an internship. I traveled across Europe. And just during those travels, when I was away, in a different environment, away from your daily surroundings and the same reinforcements, I think that really helped me once again, discover myself and gaining that sort of confidence and perspective that although, success in terms of what we imagined might have not been there, but the learnings and everything else does set us up to, really keep going on. So I've always, drawn inspiration from the failure from within after that. Okay, that's there, but, these are still the silver linings, and, this is somewhere that I did good. This is somewhere that I can improve. Still, you take some wrong learnings, things go. Yeah. So.
This is such a, like, I'm just getting so much positive vibes from that, Devi. Like, I can just feel that energy that, you carry so much confidence with you, which is spectacular, right? Like you said, that it needs to come from within, and you do have confidence from within that fail honge, so let it be. Even if we fail, and you know that you can do something better after that. So that's a really good spirit to have, which now brings me to a very interesting question. And I personally always wanted to know this. So that I could probably learn from it. I want to know what have you done differently? I'm sure you have done a lot of things differently, but just one or two things that you did differently, which has made Zostel what it is today.
I think obviously we were the first ones to even embrace the idea that you can have a backpacker hostel in which, even girls or women can, have shared dorms. We can have mixed dorms.
Yeah.
That whole concept was, nobody was willing to accept that, such a thing can even exist in India. And I think what we did really differently was that, as we compare to other startups, I would say, hotels obviously, run their own fashion. So we were very purist in terms of what we wanted to create. More than anything that, investors need this, more than anything, we wanted to create something for ourselves and fellow travelers, and just stick to it. So when we even built first, we were there in the property ourselves. We did talk to everyone ourselves. So the culture of doing hospitality, redefining hospitality, what it means without those degrees of hospitality, right? So that this is how you should behave. No, we think that we need a friend, so you can talk something about physics or philosophy. Feel free to engage with your customers, give them those, help create that environment in which people can break their barriers, engage with each other. So I think we did it very well in the early days. In the first 3 years, we literally did all ourselves. And then it was a bit easier since people were experienced in that backpacker style. So we could get more property managers. We could formalize it. People can touch it, experience it, and really define that whole backpacking culture. And today, I think, there are other hostels that do good. So we are very proud of them. And obviously, ourselves, we try to keep pushing the boundaries of what it can mean. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think other brands are following suit. I feel maybe you guys have been category creators in a way, if I can put it that way, especially in
Absolutely.
India, because you guys really created that category, and that's how anytime now people think backpacking, you guys are synonymous. Zostel is synonymous to that, and I think the quality and everything is also very great, which is a huge task in itself. No, like I just feel
Right.
that when you're consuming the Zostel hospitality, like as customer, you're like, okay, our Zostel and all of those things, but people don't know all the hard work that goes behind it, right, to make it happen, and that's very spectacular. Which now brings me to a very opposite question, Devi. So, in your Zostel journey, right, what is the worst thing that happened to you as a founder? Like where you felt ki, now nothing can go worse than this. The worst has happened, and you really felt that nothing can go bad than this in your hostel journey.
I think Zostel, as well as, usually it happens that when you are going through a down phase, your personal, professional, several things do start to, go on the other wrong directions. I think, we started off with, we gradually started off and had 7 co-founders, together. And, there have been moments, slowly after the whole Zorooms fiasco, we had to let go of several of our team members. We had to let go of our founders who, while Zostel was very small. And, still I knew that, we still have enough at the core to come back, and maybe we have hit rock bottom. So there's only one way, probably that's up. So I think, I think during those times, it was in that phase that it was at the lowest, it was at the weakest. We had to make sure that, Zostel survives, and then we can really think about that Zostel thrives. So yeah, I think, that those were the weakest moments.
Right, I tested your resilience, but you guys bounced back, and I think bounced back pretty
all
well.
from the love from the community, kept us going. You guys had a good time.
No, very, very good to hear that. And I think I have to give it for your resilience also, Dee. You do seem like a very strong-minded person, which is a great thing, I think. Emotionally also, you have to be sometimes very strong as a founder, right? Like we have to keep our emotions in check, however much we want to scream, cry, whatever. But there are times when we just have to keep it all in control. So great. Now, do you want to, whenever I talk to founders or even when I talk to community, a lot of people who are now trying to make their mark think that fundraising is a very crucial thing, right? And I think 50% of a founder's stress comes from fundraising, right? Like getting investors on board and all of those things. I wanted to know your opinion. I mean, you can share your experience as well, but I wanted to know your opinion that what would you tell other founders, budding founders, people who are looking to start? First of all, how important in your view is fundraising? How do you decide that, okay, I do definitely want to fundraise? So just shed some light on that, and you can also share how Zostel's journey been on the fundraising aspect. How it helped, not helped. How did you make a decision about it, and all of those things.
Right. Many times we jump as young founders. I talk with a lot of founders, right? So I think many times what really happens is while you are thinking about something, it's very easy to think that if I had a funding, then I would do this. So it's very easy to blame the lack of your product or success right now on a lack of funding, because it's something external rather than something on your own. So I would really suggest that I never started off Zostel with the idea that we'll get funding. So we just started it off with whatever we had, and I would suggest still to people to, if you really want to do something, try to think of ideas. See, boundaries will help in creativity. If I tell you that you can obviously in real life you can do anything, but then it's very confusing to even decide what you want to do. So maybe you want to limit it into travel. So okay, we'll think of ideas over here. You have to think about what your skills are, what you're bringing on the table. And so I really think that it's best that you think of ideas from the variables that you already have, rather than something that if I get a funding, then I'll probably do this.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
once that is in shape, once something is in shape, it's coming together, you have already reached a stage, then I think it becomes way more easier for investors. And we all hear that today there are several investors in the market, but it's still very difficult. If you're asking for a lot of money, people still need to earn trust, build that relationship with any angel that you might be talking with. So I really think that if you are building something, it's a much easier communication to do that. Hey, we've built this much, we're trying to do this. Maybe it is that we are trying to launch a go-to market strategy, and for that I need this. Maybe we have done a sample D2C product. Now we are just going to establish the delivery system, or let's say local retailer system. So build something as much as you can without the funding. The funding should be used to accelerate rather than to build. So even I can think of ideas that, hey, we'll cure cancer, if I'm able to raise $1 billion. So really, try to shape up things in those micro level in which you can achieve, and then you can really scale the business with venture capital. And with that, you'll be able to hold a lot more control about what you want to do, and you'll be closer to reality. I would also suggest that.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people are seeing fundraising as a destination, while it's just a means to, get to the business goals, I feel. And a lot of people nowadays are starting startups because they feel that, oh, we want to fundraise. It's a very fascinating thing to do. And that has become the main purpose for people, which I feel is, I think, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's still, I don't blame people. Obviously you're right in everything that you said, but see, it's an outcome of, the society that we live in, right? So
Exactly.
no one's going into IIT to really be an engineer, right? So, or maybe your parents asking you to go into IIT, okay, you'll become an engineer. But they have also read in news that, these engineers get paid $1 crore salary from Google or Microsoft, so even if or they want you to become an IAS, because with the reputation and everything that comes with it, maybe there might be money as well, right? So I really think that our aspirations are very much linked with the capitalist success that comes along. So I think now these days, reading from papers that this person graduated from here, raised $1 billion, today has done an IPO, will obviously bring a lot more aspirations to startup. That's very natural. And it's just like that, unless you are on the poker table, you will not learn how to play poker. So maybe you want to be an entrepreneur because you want to make $1 billion. But once you start playing the game, you'll learn, and you'll learn a lot about yourself, more than about startup. And I think that will really help you shape up your life, and then entrepreneurship will be a part of it for sure. Earlier you do better is what I really suggest, because the costs are very less, the opportunity costs. Otherwise, later on it's difficult. So I think every 10 to 12-year-old, a student or a kid should just try to do some random startup, I would say. And
no, definitely, because you can risk a lot. Like, you have nothing to lose at that time, as you said in the beginning.
Right. And you learn so much along, you have so much time and bandwidth to, sit on YouTube to learn. You can learn to code, you can learn to design in Photoshop, you can learn to YouTube, you can learn to tweet. So, and obviously people are doing it. It's not like I'm talking.
I was about to say, your 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds are now running startups.
Yeah. 12, 13. I'm mentoring a individual who's just turned 13. I'm mentoring an individual who's just turned 14. And these are geniuses, I don't know from where they have come, and they're doing phenomenal job. I would love to connect you, maybe you can have a chat with him, and he's like, and we have a lot of talk. He has a lot of mental stress with his board exams, right? And his studies, and his parents telling him. I'm pretty sure that, he'll be a interesting.
No, we are happy to help, happy to talk. But no, I think we're reaching from a millennial Gen Z generation. I think it's going to be very exciting, really. I think the way people are, working towards their purpose, the whole change-making thought that everyone is, working with. I think it's a very fantastic, I think, energy and vibe that we are moving towards. I think, at least that's what I feel. Cool. Now, Didi, we want to know some few more things about you. So I want to know that, is there any entrepreneur, particular entrepreneur or founder that you look up to, that who inspires you probably every day or has inspired you in your journey?
Yeah, I think, I've really, stalked Elon Musk, since 2008, maybe. In 2007, I started. And I've really told, I think, more than 1,000 people when they wouldn't have heard his name from 2008 to 2012. And then he gradually, obviously, did the things that he said. So I really come from the direction that, there is a post-Elon Musk era of entrepreneurship in which is really showing us that, you can do anything. Can't be really limited by that. I'm busy, I'm just making cars, so I can't send people to space, or if I'm doing both, I can't do memes on Twitter. So that's there. Or maybe I can't have kids, so he's probably pushing the boundaries on theoretical limits of what is possible as an entrepreneur. So really look up to him personally, in terms of still figuring out how he does it. But
he's personal favorite of a lot of people. I think a couple of other founders I spoke to, all of them said Elon Musk. So thanks for sharing that, Didi. Now, the last thing before we, get to know some more things about Zostel, what I want to ask you is that, what do you do to keep yourself sane in times of storm? What is your go-to thing, or is there a routine that you have which allows you to maintain your sanity every day?
I go through different cycles. As a modern athlete, I do take long breaks. I go on 2 to 3 week vacations every couple of months.
Okay.
And I usually have company goals that are ambitious, but they do. But I realized that, with the kind of culture that I said, it's not very authoritative, that, I give people a lot of freedom. And to get the maximum productivity with experimentation, I think, setting deadlines on product releases, that, hey, we have to really grind it out. It doesn't matter what day it is, we have to ship it. And after that, taking a breather or a break and really connecting really keeps us moving forward. So I do that. I just lost my grandfather, actually. I think it's been now 20th January. So it's been now 6-7 weeks. And he was a very, sort of a cornerstone, a pillar in my crazy journeys. Like, he has been he was always an entrepreneur. So really understood the ups and downs, and the core philosophically coming from, let's say, karam karo, phal ki chinta mat karo, really internalizing that aspect. I try to do as much, celebrate the work as much as I can. Not easy. And so I really used to have chats with him, that those really helped. And different times, so I don't have 100%. So I'm just saying this because I'm not doing it regularly right now. But I think last year I would have done at least 50% of the days a meditation and a fitness session. So I think, those things really help you put in perspective, have a long-term mindset, rather than, trying to achieve something very rushed. And just having a long-term mindset brings calmness and things into perspective. So
and it's sustainable, right? But I really like that one. It's an affirmation that you just said right now, right? Like, karam karo, don't think about the result, just keep doing your work and don't think about the result. And I think it's an affirmation that a lot of us need to imbibe in our life on a daily basis, because then it just automatically de-stresses. It's something that I also follow very closely. I have it on my wallpapers. I've actually got myself tattooed also. A lot of people don't know that, and it's Karmanya Vade ke Raaste.
wow.
And so I just love, the whole vibe that affirmation gives us. So thanks for sharing that. Now, there are just last 2 questions that I have, and I won't keep you for long. One question is, which I think a lot of people would be very excited to know. So if I had to ask you to pick your favorite Zostel location in India, what would you pick and why?
Yeah, I would probably pick Beer. I think I love the host over there. He's put in a lot of efforts, and there's obviously, something, it keeps growing, from 1.0 to 2.0, some other activities, the whole culture, the whole town is growing, so every time you visit it after a couple of years, there are more cafes in the town, and other than that, I haven't actually visited a lot of hostels. There
Okay.
are several hostels in South that I'm yet to visit to pick a favorite from there. So not the most ideal answer, and choosing a one property is always difficult as a baby. So, but yeah, I would still go with Beer. I think it's an easier, safer choice. So,
And which one is like the most excited that you're now looking forward to visit? So one that you haven't visited, because you said that you have not visited a lot of them. So which
yeah.
one are you most excited about right now? Okay, now I have to go and I'm looking forward to visit this one.
Right. So I think I'm excited to visit Vagamon and Munnar, in the south, and
Yeah.
I keep seeing great pictures from there. And I've planned a lot of times that I'll go from a road trip from here to there along the Western Ghats.
Yeah.
Still, far from executing it perfectly, but maybe this year I'll be able to do it. So
So Manar, so Zostel, so there's a Zostel in Manar as well, because Manar is beautiful, and I didn't know you guys have a Zostel there.
yeah,
So
yeah,
there
yeah.
is,
We have a
you do?
yeah.
Okay, amazing, amazing. Manar is beautiful. It's one of my favorite places. It's really nice. Cool. And so really last thing now, and you can think about this because you've already told us so much about yourself and about Zostel. So I don't know what more we will be now
I've
hearing
been
from you on this.
instant, with whatever comes.
Yeah, of course. Now the question that I have for you is, this is the last one, is that tell us something about Zostel or about yourself, which everyone out there wouldn't know. Some secret, some fun fact that no one out there would know about Zostel or about you.
I think and since this session, with talking with you, Kanika, I think a few people would know. I think few people would know, who have spent time with me, and maybe who have been early in the Zostel team, etc. But I'm very comfortable, or maybe I've realized that even crying is powerful at times. So I don't hold back on tears. If I have the emotion flowing, because either I'm sad or some.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to understand what goes on in your brain, or maybe in a celebratory moment or an emotional moment. I do try to hold matlab sab kuch, but I think I do have tears flowing, when there is such an emotion, and I'm not ashamed of that. So, and many times people are, they think it's a sign of weakness and things like that. So I think I'll just take this opportunity to at least share that I do cry, and I still then probably wash them off and just embrace the fight that will possibly be there. So.
Vivi, I think we're ending at such a beautiful note. You have shared one of your vulnerabilities, something that I think, I don't know, society, especially for men, does not perceive it well a lot of times.
Yeah. लड़कों को नहीं allowed है थोड़ा.
Yeah, men shouldn't cry, and they just say that, oh, what, are you a girl that you're crying? But this is something that we, at least at MindPeers, whenever we talk to our clients, customers, we're trying to imbibe it so much, because it's so important to let yourself out. Like you said, whatever happens in the brain, we don't know. And it's always important to just pour it out. So thank you for ending it up such a beautiful, and I would say sharing that real emotion of yours. I really appreciate that. And any parting thoughts, Bivi? Otherwise, I'm all done from my side, and I'm very grateful to hear everything that you said today. I have learned a lot, to be very honest, from you, and at least this show gave me an excuse, or you can call it, like, it was a great way for me to connect to you.
Right. And I think, you have really shaped it well, Kanika, because you really wanted to do this. You have so many passions coming together, in forming of MindPeers and the show as well. And I'm really proud of it to see, how you've been doing it. And great to hear that, Zostel, you visited Zostel. So I'm sure, Zostel would have played that small philosophical support, meeting those crazy souls. So we really think that, inside those hostels, you really come close to yourself, understanding others really help you. We are really connecting the world, unlike Facebook. We really think that we are the real social aspect about it. So that's nice to see. This opportunity to talk with you and the community out there was super fun for me as well.